Hello and welcome back to another episode of Your Government. Today we'll be talking about the civil service. For many years now, the UK civil service has been one of the most innovative and successful civil services from the whole globe. And this is no easy task. However, what is a civil service? The civil service helps to develop and implement the government policies, providing services directly to the people all over the country, such as paying benefits and pensions, running employment services, or issuing driving licenses. But how did we get here? It all began almost 200 years ago with the British Empire. To administer the vast English Empire, the Crown had the help of the Indian Civil Service and the East India Company College. However, despite these efforts, the administration still suffered from corruption, patrimonialism, and a lack of control, factors which inevitably led the empire into a chaotic administration. That is until 1854, year in which the Northcote Rebellion report was presented. The report and its supporters presented four main points which were based on previous reforms to the administration and that had to be followed in order to achieve a good civil service. First, that the civil service ought to be permanent and be recruited by competitive examination and promotion by merit, rather than by patronage or political affiliation. Second, a division between intellectual and mechanical work ought to be made clear. Third, that the functions and responsibilities between civil servants and politicians had to be clearly separated. And finally, that the civil servants should not only be employed but also trained by the civil service in order to create a lasting and successful career. Thus was instated a true and professional service that would prevail well into the 20th century. Or would it? With both world wars and the economic crisis of the 1929, the welfare state grew larger around the globe, perhaps too large, and with such growth came new capabilities and new obligations. This growth came to a stop in 1968 with the Fulton Report, which started the managerial revolution. This new way of approaching the public administration implied a greater focus on outcomes, a redefinition of state boundaries, and more attention on the people's satisfaction. To all this, there was but one answer: more efficiency. From the 1980s up until now, this revolution crystallized in four core principles: ownership, management, competition, and openness. Ownership refers mainly to the marketization of the public administration, privatizing whenever possible, and following contractual relations. Management, on the other hand, was a rather more complex matter, which involved several initiatives. The first was to squeeze out numbers. This implied the reduction of state size by cutting on the total number of employees. Another initiative was the Financial Management Initiative, which stated that all managers had to have a clear view of their objectives, well-defined responsibilities, and the information required to exercise their duties effectively. The Next Steps initiative sought to separate executive and service delivery functions of the government into separate bodies, giving both agencies and departments more freedom. And finally, the Citizen Charter, which made the citizens able to evaluate the performance of different government agencies, which in turn required services to shift their attention towards the aspirations of the public and away from the interests of themselves as providers. In terms of competition, the managerial revolution pushed the government to turn its operations to output units, which could then be compared with those of the market, making it easier to determine its performance. Finally, openness refers to the ending of the monopoly provision within the civil service. Despite the fact that the Northcote Trevelyan reforms introduced the concept of advancement on merit, this process had been closed to the civil service. With the new push for openness, these competitions are more public and open, not only to the experts within the civil service, but to anyone capable to occupy the post. However big these changes, the civil service envisioned in the Northcote Trevelyan report has changed little in its more important aspects, maintaining its permanence and open competition promoted by merits, and also separating itself from the political struggle by the clear separation of functions. However, it has also included new principles, such as the necessity to be more efficient and effective in the provision of public goods and services, and also being ever more inclusive in the recruitment of the best and the brightest candidates, no matter where they may come. This is the civil service of the future: professional, efficient, independent, and inclusive, bringing a bright new horizon for you and England. This video was brought to you by the UK government. For more information, please visit our website at www.gov.uk.